Excuse me. We will be starting in 2 minutes. Well, good afternoon. Nice to see you, John. I am expecting a few more people to come today because they have requested some specific software training. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes and see if they're going to join us. Is there anything you want me to cover today, John?
No, I was just dropping in to see what was going on. I've had some software training this morning off of Jenny.
Oh, brilliant.
The time's up and everything. So,
well, she's asked me to cover OnTrack and Time's Up today.
right, okie dokes.
So if you've already had that training with her this morning, then go and have some lunch. But if you haven't, then you're welcome to stay. I'm going to start with OnTrack anyway. So
yeah, I say, well, what I'll probably do is listen to watch the OnTrack then, and maybe leave after that.
Okay.
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 No problem.
Thank you.
I'll mute myself now.
Okay, so I'm going to start because there's a lot to cover today. And obviously the recordings will be available. Oh, look, we've got people coming in now. It's always a couple of minutes late, isn't it? Just wait for people though. Good afternoon. So I have been asked to cover two particular, excuse me, oh dear, AVN tools this afternoon, OnTrack and Time's Up. So I'm going to start with OnTrack and do a session on that. And then obviously we'll do some on Time's Up. If you've got anything else you want me to cover, please put that in the chat box. And then I can make sure that I can sort that out for you as well. Okay, so let's start. So this morning, excuse me, I thought today I thought what we do is with these two tools, these are the ones that most people can use very quickly and they make the biggest difference. So the first one we're going to look at is OnTrack. Now, OnTrack was designed for us to be able to live up to the claim that we are proactive accountants. Often we say that we are proactive accountants, that we always think of our clients, but the reality of it is that usually we're so busy just trying to get the compliance stuff done that it's very rare that we manage to actually have time to look for alternative things that we could do to help our clients. There are so many other things in our everyday to-do list. It's just hard work to sit down and come up with ideas to help our clients. So oh, thank you very much. So what's what we did was we created this tool called OnTrack. And I'm just going to share my screen now. So if I just share my screen and I move you over to the AVN app, I'm hoping everyone can see that. Could somebody just put yes in the chat for me so that I know that you can see it? You're seeing my AVN dashboard. Fantastic. Okay. So this is the sort of hub of where all the AVN tools are. Most of these, apart from Time's Up, have their own individual websites that you can just go directly to. But I'm just going to go from here so you can see that this is the central place. So OnTrack, okay, I'm just going to open it. And if I just make that slightly bigger so that we can all see it. Okay. So what happens is any clients that you have put into Time's Up or Simple Stuff That Works or Benchmark, they will automatically appear in OnTrack because there's a shared client database, but you can very easily add clients to it. And this is something that you can get Team to do if you've got Team, because you don't need to be involved in this initial getting together of the information. So it can be part of your accounts procedure. So in the end, when you finish accounts, one of the things that a team member who's done the accounts can do is come into OnTrack, add the client if they're not already there, and just answer these series of questions. It's a back office tool. So it's not, it's not designed for the clients. It's just for you to come up with some ideas to be proactive. And rather than you spending hours trying to think of what could you suggest to your client, within this software, there are 27 different ideas. So first of all, to add a client, just look for the plus sign, okay? Really simple. You need to put the client name in, their business name, and their address. Really important stuff, information, because that gets pulled through into a letter that it produces, and also the trading entity in there, so we can get some information for them. Again, it's okay if you feel that you want to pull that information. Like I said, if you've got other software that's AVN, it will pull it through. Once you've done it, you just click save. So I'm going to pull up one that we've already got. Okay. So let me pick, and the other thing is, you can see, I mean, this is obviously a set of test data that we're playing with here, but this is something that you can do regularly because we update these questions at least twice a year. We review them quarterly, but we make sure that they are current. And if there's something specific that we feel that you should be talking to your clients about, we will obviously be telling you through the what's new email that you get weekly, but also we may add a question into this system so that it becomes something that becomes part of every conversation you have with clients. So let me pick a client here, okay? And rather than have my own name, I'll pick somebody else's name on there. Okay, and I can go into that client. As you can see at the moment, it's already had 3 sets of questions done, but it doesn't matter, we can have a look at it anyway. Oh, it's that internet slow time for me, I'm afraid. Okay, you can see it is trying to get onto the website. There we go. Right, okay. Now in here, we can edit the client. So if you want to change some details about the client, you can do. Okay, you can add new questionnaires. You can delete the client if you want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new questionnaire. So I'm going to click to add a new questionnaire, and you can see that the OnTrack questionnaire has 27 questions. And all you have to do back in the office with minimum amount of knowledge about your client really is answer these questions. Very simple, as you can see, the question, and then if you're not sure, here's the answer. Because if you're not sure, you want to still be asking and finding out about things. And it doesn't matter if you ask something and they go, oh, I already do that. You can go, great, now I can make sure that we haven't got that. That's something we need to check with you. Okay. So if you think about it, the first question, if I just go back, is about obviously making sure they've got money, cash flow. And then the 1-page plan is about actually, are they measuring stuff? Do they know how they're doing? So again, it's about helping people manage their money. This one, do they meet with somebody outside their business? This is about obviously making sure that they're getting some strategic input into their business, and that's where you can come in. So later when I show you Time's Up, you'll see that there is a service called Board View, and Board View is basically a monthly or quarterly meeting that you have with a client, just to be there as a non-exec director, somebody who can sit in. So even for a sole trader, a plumber or whatever, that if they don't have time in their months to stop and think about what's happening with their business, they end up basically having a job. So this is about you helping them, give them time to be strategic about their business. So that gives you that idea. This one is about the benchmark software. Does it suggest they'll be able to increase the profits? I have to tell you that it will always say that it can increase the profits. Even if they're best in the industry, there's always more you can do. But if you're not sure, you could go and run the report on the benchmark software. Now, from the work that you do on their accounts, you'll see what their debt collection's like. So their debtor days is obvious, isn't it? So if you think that their debtor days are not so great, then again, this is something perhaps we can advise them on. And don't get worried about the advice, okay? Because this tool is great. It gives you everything you need to say, everything you need to deliver to help them with these issues. Again, if you've done their accounts, you will know whether or not they get paid by direct debit or whether actually, again, they have a challenge. Those of you that are advisory members, it might be that you want to do the performance measure improvement folder with them. Now, we talk about that in masterclass, don't we? And I talk about it a bit more in the advisory tools event that I do as well. And this is about allowing people to understand what are they doing and to measure what they're doing, and then just start putting in small incremental changes to improve it, but having it all recorded in one place. So again, it might be something that you could engage clients with. Would they like to improve their gross margins? Again, this is something you'll know from their accounts. Could they be better? Could we help them get better deals on their cost of sales? Have they thought about their pricing? Now, again, I'm going to put no, but just for your information, pricing is something that's really easy to talk to them about. And you have a product called Simple Stuff That Works, which is again on that dashboard that I showed you at the beginning. And the very first section on that is to talk about pricing with your clients. So there is an opportunity there to do that. It's very simple. This is about how they get the money in. So how is, and because this affects cash flow. So as with you, we say, okay, let's try and get everyone on direct debit, a recurring amount every month, because it means our cash flow is easier, but it also makes our clients' cash flow easier, but possibly they don't. And therefore they have peaks and troughs in their income, which obviously seriously affects their own cash flow issues. Do they have systems? Do they make sure things are done right? Okay, this is about, again, being the most efficient and effective they can be. A question for you, obviously, if they're unincorporated, could they save tax by incorporating? So you could just do just a very basic calculation. Again, there's something in the report I'll show you in a minute, but it could be an opportunity. In this case, if they're a limited company, do they think about how they distribute the money? So we might have a think about that. Again, look at there's different things. So here we're going to think about how can we help people move forward. So you will go through these. I mean, there's lots of them here. Personal balance sheet, again, is to help the individual, not just the business. So again, it's linked to the performance measure and improvement system, but helping people think about what's going on for themselves, because making sure they're taking out own income, which is why we ask you to do it, because we want to say to you, okay, what do you need? And then how do you get your business to deliver for it? And this is the key, I think, to the AVN stuff, is you need to remember that all the things that you are doing with your practice growth expert, all these things you can then teach your clients. And this is about learning about it. Here is just knowing, do they have independent financial advice? Okay, important to get that, isn't it? Have they got any capital gain stuff that we need to think about? Again, this is quite a personal question, but have they got a valid power of attorney in place? You know, it's important that we all do these now, make sure that we've got this sort of thing sorted should anything happen to us. So important there. Again, you will know whether they have spending, whether they're going to do so, because we can look at how we can help them do that the most tax efficient way, and also perhaps get some R&D support. Have they got a mortgage on their home? Could we help them sort that out? Have they completed the taxability checklist? So that's a resourcing system builder, taxability. We update it every year. And again, it's allowing the client to give you information about themselves so that you can ensure that they are paying the minimum amount of tax that they have to do. So it's something, again, on Time's Up, we encourage people to do, and we encourage people to bundle taxability into the different service levels in Time's Up in the pricing, because we want to make sure that you are helping them the best we can. And we don't always have time to sit and talk to every single client about what they're thinking about and what they're doing in their lives. And the checklist helps you identify some extra things. Okay, this is about inheritance tax planning. So again, you might need to think about whether or not we need to talk to them about that. And are they thinking of selling in the next 3 years? Because we need to think about how we can help get that business to be the biggest value. And then, do they have friends or family that would benefit from talking to us? You know, always put yes, because it may be that they have somebody else who would be a great client for you. Looking at their personal and business goals, this is about, again, making sure that the business is delivering for the business owner. Are they ready for making tax digital? Okay. So, yeah, so in this case, I'm going to put yes. And again, this is about R&D, so I'm just going to finish. Okay, so not difficult questions. I don't need to know an awful lot about the client, because it's about asking them questions, isn't it? So having gone through those 27 questions, what it does is it then produces a series of documents for you. And so if I click into today's questionnaires, okay, I can view the questions so I know which ones I want to answer, how I answered them. So if I ever go back, like in this case, I might look at how did I answer them last time I did it. And I can create reports. So the reports are a letter to get your client to come in and talk to you. Okay. A key improvement possibilities report. We're going to look at all of these in a minute, which is a report that you can give to your client that allows them to look at all the different options that you can give them to support them in so many different ways, but by being proactive. Okay. An action plan so that they can decide what's important and see if they need your help. And importantly for you are the For Your Eyes Only document. So this is how you deliver on every single one of the actions. So let's just start with the letter. Okay, I can just open it. There we go. Okay. Right, so what it'll do is, obviously you can change this. Now, the stuff in yellow you need to review and change. Now, the reason that we haven't pulled in their name, even though that's something that we've set up on the client details, is because sometimes if it's a nice client, you might have a familiar name for them. So although it might be Robert Smith, you may call them Bob. Okay, so this is to make sure that you make this letter personal. And then it talks about the fact that we want to be genuinely proactive. We say we are, but we want to genuinely be it, because not everybody is. So we want to look at some ideas that we've had. Obviously, these have been generated by the software, but you don't tell them that. Okay, so if you've got a forthcoming meeting, you can put that in, or you can suggest a date for a short meeting. So that's why it says delete as appropriate, which one you're going to have, to discuss the following key ideas. Now you can see there are lots of key ideas here, and we suggest that this meeting is a free 1 hour meeting. Okay, you don't want it to be longer than an hour. 45 minutes would be even better, to be honest, because again, it's client's time is valuable as well as your own. Okay, so you might say, I put an extra line in, you know, I've come up with actually 26 ideas, but the 3 that I think are most important for us to discuss at this meeting are, and then you pick the 3 that you think would have the most appeal to your client. What would get them to come in? Okay, so it could be that they're the sort of client that actually wants to know what their industry is doing. So maybe it's about talking about that. Maybe it's that we know that they've got issues with income. So let's talk about debt collection. It could be that actually pricing is an issue for them. So we know about that. So you pick whichever 3 you are happy, first of all, that you think will have the biggest impact on them. So they want to come in and talk to you about it. But secondly, you know, you're going to learn how to deliver it, but it's not going to be difficult, to be honest. So you're happy that you can talk about that once you've been given the support, and you delete all the rest. So ultimately, this letter only ends up with 3 items on it. Because by the time you said hello and sort of chatted, had that 5 minutes, you may only have 10 minutes per item. So that's perhaps 35 minutes. And then you've got 10 minutes to work out what are the actions moving forward. So keep it down to 3. Okay. And it says, by the time we meet, we'll have also produced a draft report containing all the information you need to make fully informed decisions on each of these areas and set out our preliminary recommendations. Okay. And we're doing it at no charge. It's a free meeting because we want to help. So this is the letter that is sort of a great way of getting people to come and see you. Or it's something that, again, encourages people to talk to you about so many different things. So if I open the Key Improvement Possibilities report, okay, you'll see, let me just get rid of that. It has all through it draft for discussion. This is not advice. Okay, this is some ideas. That's why it's a preliminary report, some ideas of ways we can help. Okay, and it's got, this is my company, AVN Training Division, so that'd be your business, and your business address would appear on it. Okay. And again, anything in yellow you need to review. So it could be that when we've looked at this stuff, we could generate however much money. And again, that'll come through from the other things we do. So you just put in a more appropriate. Okay. Now, of the 27 things I ticked, okay, the first one was, excuse me, 1-page plan. Okay. So this explains that actually it's really useful to a business owner to have all the key numbers in a single sheet of A4, a 1-page plan. Okay. And it's easy to update, it's simple and understandable, and it gives you early warning signs, because the whole point of a 1-page plan is to generate action, okay, of moving things forward. So this explains about a 1-page plan, and an example of somebody who have used it and what a difference it has made. So it says we can show you what a 1-page plan looks like, so you can start to use one in your business. And therefore, we recommend that you use a 1-page plan to drive your business forward, improve its performance, and motivate your team. Okay, now you may not have picked that one out of the 3, so it's just there for on the report. The 3 that you did pick in the letter, I would put a little post-it note on, because you're going to print this out, put a little post-it note on the pages and just go to those. Okay, and so we may have, if we just go down here, it may be that, okay, debt collection. Okay, so we might have done a little quick, put them through the benchmark and seen that actually they're really bad with their debt collection compared to their industry. So we could give them some information. That's this yellow stuff that's from the benchmark tool. Again, that's literally a 10-minute job maximum to get that key information out from the benchmark. And then at the end of it, we recommend you review all your debt collection policies and systems to identify how and where it's impossible to make improvements in order to speed up collection times and reduce the risk of bad debt. So again, not advice, we're just making recommendations. So like I said, you pick the ones that you think the client will be interested in, and you have this printed with those post-it notes on. Now in the meeting, they may want to look at the rest, but you're going to go, no, we've only got a very short amount of time today. So I'm just picking the 3 that we agreed. You can take this report back with you afterwards, and I'll give you a call in a couple of days. You can see I'm not going to go through every single one of these. Look, there's loads. That actually what we'll do is we'll come back to you in a couple of days and see if there's anything else that you think we need to talk about. Okay. Now, the beauty of this is there's an action plan that goes alongside it. Okay. So the action plan for every single one of those things that I said yes to, that I think we need help. Okay. You can have an action plan. You can pick the 3 initially and go, okay, the 3 we've talked about, debt collection. Will you take action on it? Yes. So they write yes. When will you do it by? I would delete this date and just let them put in whatever date they want. And then the only question you have to ask is, do you need help with that? Because again, you've got a whole load of debt collection systems in System Builder, which you could share with them. So I'll show you that in a minute. So there's all sorts of things. And then obviously you look at the 3 first, and then you just have a quick look at the others and go, is there anything that jumps out at you now? Great, we can mark that for our next meeting, but go away and read the report, and then we'll book a meeting to go through what we're going to do in the future. So they've got an action to go away and decide on the 3 things you've talked about. What are they going to do? And do they need help from you? And obviously, if they do need help from you, you'll have to charge that as an extra work order. It's not part of your standard fees. And then the other ones, maybe they're not interested. And if they're not interested, that's good for you to know too. Okay, because then it's important that you're understanding your client more. But the most important document for you is the For Your Eyes Only. Okay, so again, this is for internal use only. This is not to be shown to the client at all. Okay, this is for you to read before the meeting. Again, I wouldn't read it all. Read the 3 that you're going to talk about. You could spend forever trying to learn everything. This is not what this is about. Okay, if a client says, and you haven't picked one-page plan, but say they say, oh, that looks a great idea. You go, fantastic. I'm so glad you said that because I've earmarked it for our next meeting. Park it, okay? It's not, don't let them control the meeting. You control this meeting, okay? So, but for all of these, it explains. So if it is a one-page plan, it shows you that there's an action resourcing system builder, okay? If you click through, it will take you straight through and explain how to use it. There is a little simple overview of what it does. There is a sample of a one-page plan, again, in System Builder, so you can show them. So you show them a sample, you explain how it's structured and the benefits, okay? And you ask them if they want some help to create one. And again, if they say yes, then it's something you can either price through Times Up as an extra work order or have a different separate extra work order as you like. So it's a really great tool. So for all of these, so look, harnessing the power of external perspective. So I already talked about that, didn't I? About having somebody there to talk about it. So you run through what it says on the report, you read what it says in the report, you ask them how often they have board meetings, or they might say never. Well, don't you think it's about time we did some strategy? But if they are a large company, how effective are those meetings? You know, do they get completely caught up in operational and not think about strategy? Happens a lot in a lot of board meetings I've been to in other businesses, you know. So what can we do as a numerate outsider to help question what's going on? You can offer, if you think it's appropriate, to play the role yourself. And obviously there's a fee for that. That's an extra work order. You know, if you don't want to do it, that's fine too. Or you may have somebody else in the team who's really great at that, might be your specialist, okay? There is resources all around the AVN Board View service, so it explains what it is, okay? And it's important because it's really valuable. Often people say to me, well, I can't charge a lot of money for this, but you are actually adding a huge amount of value. Recently heard of somebody who had been invited in as a numerate outsider to a business who, when it came to price, the business just said, we're paying you £750 a meeting. It's a 2-hour meeting. That's nice money, isn't it? Even with the traveling and everything, that's still nice money. And I think a lot of people say to me, oh, well, couldn't cost, you know, I'm charged out £150 an hour. I couldn't charge anything like that. It's not about an hourly rate. This is about what you are doing to help. And if they value you enough, and you may have to prove that in the first 3 months, but your input to that business to help them run that business better can make a massive difference to them. Okay. So learning from your competitors. So this is all around benchmark. So again, you can get out reports and benchmark. Look, and then when people tell you about benchmark, this is the other thing, isn't it? Some people say I'm unique. Well, often that's not true. Okay, but you can find other businesses that work similarly if they feel that way. Sometimes the numbers might look a bit off. Again, you might want to look at that, and you might want to look at so it's worth having a look at some of those numbers, but they are right. If you are concerned, please call us and we will check them for you. It could be that you've just inputted a number in the wrong box. But this is a great way, again, of making sure that people have some information that's useful. Debt collections, again, look, we've got an insider report of how to get paid. We've also got a BBF on how to get paid. So that's a 45-minute presentation with some slides and also a transcript so that you can use that to talk them through. You may be able to use the system builder stuff. So every single one of these, loads and loads and loads. I haven't, we haven't got all day to go through it. So what I would say to you is find a client, preferably try this on one of your better clients, okay, an A and B. Go through and answer the 27 questions, pick the 3 that you think would be most appropriate for them or would interest them the most, get them to come into a meeting, or even if it's the year-end meeting, bring it into that instead of just talking about the numbers in the accounts. Let's talk about what is the opportunity for the future. Have the report ready to give them after the meeting. You never send it out. You give it to them at the end and say, look, this is just my preliminary report for you to go away. Schedule yourself time to follow up. So follow up the action plan. Ask them, is there anything they're interested in? It becomes a great tool for you to have conversations with your client. There are 27 things there to talk to them about over a year. So, we talk about being proactive and staying in contact with people. We have got 27 different things you could talk about. And obviously the for your eyes only is really important. So it's a great tool for you to understand how to be proactive and it not be a hard job, okay? It's really important to think about how we can engage with that. Now, the other tool that I've been asked to talk about today is Time's Up. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to come out of OnTrack. Okay, let's get rid of that one. And Time's Up, at the moment, you have to enter via this app through the dashboard, okay? I've got it open, so I'm just going to click through. Now, when you open Time's Up, again, you can have it so it opens 2 ways. So my version, I have set it so when I open it, I don't see any clients. If I want to, I can click Show All. And then if I left it like that, the next time I open the software, it will show all my clients. Now, when I'm quoting for somebody, or when I used to be quoting with somebody, I didn't want them to see my client base. Okay, so I would leave it blank and I would just start typing in a name. You can see here, and then I can see ones that link to whoever I'm wanting to find. So it's up to you how you do it, but it's important that you know that that's that option, because this is a piece of software that is designed definitely to be used in front of clients. Did somebody else? Okay, so excuse me. So very quickly, I'm going to show you how to create a quote, and then we'll look at how you customize it, but only in a very sort of short time, because customizing it is something you need to do sort of after today and work with either Jenny or myself. And we'll just, it's not a big job. In fact, that's the reason why I'm saying Jenny or myself, because if you do it with us two, we could probably do it in half an hour. Whereas if you go away and yourself, you might take a long time because you're overthinking or overcomplicating stuff. So if I go back to this software, okay, again, to add a client, just click the plus. Okay, this allows you to put in key information. Anything that has a red dot is important. We have to fill it in. Okay, so we've got a client name and we've got a business name. Trading entity is really important because that affects the pricing. The SIC code, which is obviously for the benchmark, if you've set them up as a client in benchmark, it'll already pull it through. If this is somebody and you're not sure, okay, you can just pick a general one, though it will come up in front of the client. Okay, so try and find one that fits. And if you just start typing, then you'll start getting the right words. Unfortunately, we haven't got the same wizard as we have in benchmark for this, but it allows you to do that. Okay, once you do, the reason why it's just so you're aware, it does actually write a line. So I've had people who tried to type in here and said it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No, you have to go to the right on this. Okay, so again, fill that in, just click tick to save it. Okay, if you playing with software, which we often do, and you want to change stuff, then if you click the pencil, you see these boxes appear. And if I pick one of these boxes, there we go. Okay, I can choose to delete that client if I want to. Now, only if I have the right rights. So when you set people up in System Builder or your team, you will have given them different access rights. You as the business owner will have full rights to do this, to change this stuff. So, but don't give those rights to anybody else because the highest administrator right can change anything in Time's Up. And we only want you as the business owner to be changing stuff to make it right. Oh, okay. So if I wanted to, I could delete them, or if I went into the client itself, I could change any of this. So if they've gone from being sole trader to being a partnership or a limited company, I can change that and then it's ready for next time. I might want to change my year end, whichever. Okay, so that allows me to change stuff. Also, if I'm in a client and I've been playing, so as you can see, I've got lots of quotes in here. If I've been playing and doing lots of quotes, I can again do the pencil and I can choose to delete old quotes. Okay, so I've got this old one here. Okay, and I can just delete it. As you probably saw when I did that, there is a duplicate. The only time you would ever do duplicate, okay, is if you've accidentally locked down a quote. That's what this says. That's the quote accepted, so it's locked down. And then you need to go back and change it because the client has changed their mind within your agreed period, whether that's 7, 14 days, okay? You do not duplicate anything other than that because you're going to change your prices each year. So every time you use the software, you need to make sure that you are using the right pricing as of today. Okay. Now, I am back at the choose a client screen. So I pick a client and let's just pick, let's do this one, Bob. Okay. To add a new client, it's just a plus. Okay. And we look at 2 areas. So when we sat with a client, again, it's about, if it's an existing client, I would do this in a back office first and have a look at the numbers, okay, and just check that it feels about right. Remember, it needs to be more than you're charging now. That's the whole point. We want to uplift your prices, okay? But if the price comes up and it's too high, you're going to look more shocked than the client. And that's not what we want here. We want the price to be something you're accepting. So the first thing to do is if it's an existing client, use it back office. And like I said, if we need to customize the software, work with Jenny or myself on it. But if it's a new client, then just run with it. Okay, you've got nothing to lose. If it's a prospect, you want people to pay what you want. So we talk about the fact that we price separately the business and the tax, because the tax is personal. Oh, look at that, it's a dormant account. Let's find somebody else. Here we go. Right. So I've set up this client, or in this case, I think Jenny set up this client. Okay. It's a limited liability partnership. The year end is the 16th of March. The photocopiers apparently. And then we start talking a little bit to them about their business. So the business type. And what this still allows us to do is show people that we are specialists. So there are the standard business to business, business consumer. Okay, but if you want to be shown as having a niche market, you can put your niche market in here so that it becomes something that you are seen as a specialist at. If you want to set a pricing dependent on something specific, so for example, you know that doing a dentist, there is obviously the issue of doing private and NHS work. So there's quite a lot of additional paperwork in that. So you might want to have higher prices for that. It might be that you want to set up a structure for startups where you allow that first year startup to be a different pricing structure. It's up to you, okay? I'm just going to do business to business, okay? But it's a good to have that conversation and it allows us to be flexible. Because they're not a limited company with audit, it's not asking me about risk, okay? But if it was a limited company with audit up here, it would ask me what the risk level is on audits. So that allows me again to have a conversation about it and also to adjust the price. And then we look at what do they do? What do they do? So let's start with currently as a prospect, how do they store their records now? Well, if it's that carrier bag job, okay, then there's no proper accounting system. Okay, it may be that they do keep a spreadsheet or they have a old-fashioned cash book. Okay, and you ask them how good their records are. Now, with everybody, they'll say they're pretty good, very good. Okay, and when that happens, what happens is we start getting to have we then pull up our own document. So this document, if I just pull it over, it's just not going to let me just pull this through. It's just appeared on my other screen. Wait a minute, I'm going to stop share and I will share my other screen so you can see it. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. So this is the accounting systems rating chart. Okay. Again, this is in System Builder, completely customizable. And what this allows us to do is have a conversation about the quality and books and records we're getting. So if somebody says, I've got very good records, you go, well, that's fantastic. Let's just check that what your definition is the same as ours. Again, you can change all these if you don't like them, but this is a standard thing. So we can go through, do you do all these things? It may be that actually all they do is they have a cash book. It may be that they don't even, crosscast it. Again, that's great. And you can also see that the less work they do, the more they have to pay. If they do more work, the less they have to pay. Makes sense. But also you can see that from here, can you see the discount kicks in at very good? On this one, if we get you on a computerized system, the discount kicks in average. So it's a good way of moving people, particularly with Making Tax Digital, onto software, onto cloud software, because their accounts could be so much cheaper. Okay, and the whole point of that is obviously on software, we can make sure that we are bringing in auto feeds and all the rest of it. So if I go back 2 times up, okay, it may be that actually having had that conversation, we may say it's manual pull. They understand that. They now understand that they could do better. And then the turnover range is an estimation. One of the things, obviously, when you're meeting a new prospect, you're probably looking at doing accounts that are past. And so we do the accounts that were past in the past, sorry. But we also want to do the accounts for the future. We want to quote for that as well. So you would do 2 quotes when you meet somebody. Unless obviously, it again depends what time of year it is, but we suggest that at least 3 months, preferably more earlier than that, you go and see an existing client and sort out the pricing for the following set of accounts. That way you start getting paid up front for the work you're going to do, because there is work we do before, we actually get the account sorted. So these are ranges. As you can see, the ranges below the VAT threshold, depending on sizes of the business. So it's a bit of an estimate. They're quite big. Then the important thing is to talk about the services we deliver. Now, at AVN, we always say start with top-down pricing. You can always go down. It's really hard to go up. And also, we want to position ourselves as great business growth advisors. So the key to this is to start by saying what we really want to do is we want to help grow your business. There is a document here that opens in System Builder that explains all about what we want to give you for the 5-star service. But if I just switch it on, okay, then what happens is when my software wakes up, there we go, is it shows you on the right all the different things that are included in the 5-star package. It's all written in here so you can explain it all. Okay, so as a business growth advisor, not only do we do the accounts and check your VAT and do your personal tax planning, but we also look at your pricing. We look at giving you some support to make sure that you're getting the best out of the economic situation we're currently in. And we get you a full report on what your competitors are doing and how you can emulate them. Okay, and that price then comes up here, very open, transparent. I have mine set at 10 months because multiplying by 10 is not difficult. And I want to be open and transparent, but you can put them at 12. If it's a new client, you might want them to pay over 3 months. Okay, so we can change that. You choose that. Okay, maybe that price is too rich for them, so we drop down to 4. So 4 allows us to then say to them, okay, can you see we've switched off all our business growth stuff and the price has dropped accordingly. Now, you can go back and say, look, can you see the difference? Oh gosh, it's so slow today. 491 to 365 a month. Is it worth that for the growth support you're going to get? Okay. You could also show them, if you wanted to, what it would be next year if they were on the computerized system, because you could switch this to computerized average. So if, let me just do that, computerized, let's put them to good, okay. And then you can see the drop goes right down. It saves them £100 a month. So when they're thinking about actually getting onto computerized records, that's a really great way of showing them. So I was at poor, wasn't I? Okay. And finally, again, if the price is too rich, it comes back, there you go, I can go down to 3-star, which is our real basic. Okay, we're just going to get the accounts done. Okay, what we will do is we will throw in a few things that we think might help you. We have a key improvement possibilities report, allowing us to give you some proactive ideas. Taxability, which allows you to think about all the things you're doing so we can make sure that we are claiming the most tax back on things. We will give you a report on your accounting records so that maybe you could make them to manual good next time. Okay, and we'll do a profit review. So we'll see what are the options for growing your business. People ask me about the no account service. Okay, so that switches off everything, and that's when you go to, if you've got a business you really want to work with and you really want to do business growth work with them, then you can go in and if they say, but I'm fine with my accountant, you can go, great, I don't want to price for the accounts, I just want to show you what else we can do. And you can switch that off. It switches everything else off and it allows you then to talk about everything else. So let's look at everything else. Where you see a blue arrow, that means there's something else to look at. So let's have a look at what our options are. Now, the conversation that we want here is to talk about them. So at the moment, they're doing their own bookkeeping. Okay, what if we could, but it's manual. Okay, so this is some stuff we could help them to do. Okay, so we could actually, if somebody was doing their own books and records on computer and it was a new client, I would always insist in that first year, you get to tick this on. Okay, which is diagnostic review of your existing computerized records. If you click on the line, you'll see there's a little bit of an explanation here. And this is because when we take on new clients who are computerized, we often end up spending ages fixing all the rubbish in there. And we just absorb that cost because we go, it's a new client, I can't charge him for this. But no, you need to say, look, we don't know how good your records are. We need to do a diagnostic review. At the end of that review, we'll give you a report and you can fix those things yourself, or we will give you a quote to fix them for you, rather than us absorbing that cost. I know so many people, as somebody who spent a whole week fixing stuff, well, that's just ridiculous. Okay. Again, it might be that we want to help them with some training, whatever else. So there could be tools to help them to do their bookkeeping. Or in this case, we've got a manual set of records. So we could either say to them, look, let's get you onto computerized records. So we could put you onto zero. We could sort out your opening balances. We could give you some training. Okay, so let's switch that on. We'll do some zero. This is just the zero pricing levels, aren't there? 3. So I'm just picking the basic one. We're going to do the opening chart of accounts, and we're going to give them some training. Now that's just up to their price. So remember, we're right down at the basic level. But we also know, don't we, from what we showed them earlier, that they could save £100 a month by being on computerized records next time. So this is a great way of moving them on. Okay, so that might be something we want to do. This is just for your being aware. There's a lot of people now, obviously, who are trading online. Getting reports off online trading platforms is a challenge, to say the least. Okay, so again, we want to make sure that we get paid to set up those reports for them. So depending on the number of platforms they have, then we make sure we get charged, we get paid for sorting out the reporting, so that moving forward, it's easy for the accounts. So in this case, I'm going to put them onto computerized records in the following year. If I wanted to, I could take the stress out of bookkeeping altogether, so I could actually deal with all of this stuff. Again, I can choose with what I'm going to do, and it's about us posting stuff for them. So the first is, let's help you do it yourself. The second one is, right, let's just do it for you. And again, it's in ranges. I don't want to be counting every transaction every month. That's just ridiculous. Let's just do a range, and then every 3 months we just review how we're doing. Then we start talking about payroll. Okay, Now, this is a very simple layout for payroll. I've had people who've made this massively complex, lots of different things that they want to talk to their clients about when they set up payrolls. So if you're doing a payroll that has lots of deductions or lots of things you have to do around the pension contributions or childcare vouchers or whatever else, you can create lines in here that allow you to do that. Okay, so I might choose to have a payroll. It might be that it's an hourly payroll in this case, and they are paid weekly, and there's up to five of them. Again, it's allowing you to build that price in. As you're doing it, of course, every time you switch things on and you're explaining, well, how long do you spend on the payroll? What does that stop you doing? You know, do you get away on holiday, or do you always worrying that you've got to be back to do the payroll? You know, I did used to work with a business owner who only went on holiday from Saturday to Thursday because Friday had to be in the office to do the payroll. I mean, insane. He's the business owner. So you're always explaining the value that it's adding. Okay. And if they don't like it, you can just switch it back off. That's the beauty of letting them choose. And then obviously, if they're doing the bookkeeping and they're VAT registered, then you need to do the VAT preparation. So there will be some checking, isn't it, if they're doing it themselves? And that's why there's a fee here. If you're doing the bookkeeping, then we don't charge for the VAT because that's part of something that you're already doing. So it may be, yes, in this case, they have got to have 4 VAT returns at the moment. Come on, wake up. And also to, you know, talk about international VAT reporting. There's, you know, there's things that have to be done for that. I'm not sure why that's not going up to 4. There we go. And in this case as well, if this was a client where their only single source of income was their business, okay, and there may be one savings account, you could build their tax return in here. Anything at all more complex, we use the business, you use the tax section, okay. So we're just going to go through now and talk about the things we could do. So they could have management accounts. How useful would it be to have a 3-month cash flow forecast so you just know what's going to happen in your business? There's software out there that helps you do this quite simply. Again, it's up to you how much you want to offer these. These are just examples of what can go in Time's Up. You can put anything, any service that you have in here. Then we look at business development. So they didn't choose the business development stuff, but actually it doesn't mean that we can't offer it them. So would you like just a really simple 1-page statement of how you compare to your competitors? That's the 3-star. 4-star is looking at some of those key numbers and coming up with some strategies. 5-star is looking at all the key numbers with a full report that explains what's going on, and we'll have a 3-hour meeting to discuss it. So if you are interested in what your competitors are doing, you can switch that on, and that will affect the price in a minute when it wakes up. There we go. Is that worth a little bit extra each month? Okay. Is it pricing that's the issue? That comes out of simple stuff that works. Or is it all the 7 key sales drivers? Again, simple stuff that works, helping you. Okay. So all of these things, again, have things in System Builder to help you deliver. If you've got any questions about them all, just again, ask us in these sessions, these training sessions. Then we've got tax planning. So again, do they want it specific? And then finally, other services. So do you build in fee protection or not? We always put quality of records. Even if we're doing the bookkeeping, we need to find out if there's issues. So for example, it could be that they're constantly claiming business expenses that are really personal. That happens a lot, doesn't it? Or that they are missing certain receipts. Again, it could be really simple as just saying, right, accounting records, we can't claim VAT on all these things because you don't do receipts. And if you had done, you could have saved you this much money. So something like that. Some of our members are also doing this, which is that they charge extra for having access to the partner. So if you're a partner of a business, you only have so many hours to be able to talk to clients. If you've got 300 clients, how are you going to see them all? It's just going to be a challenge. So what we do is we say, okay, what we do is we build in that they will be able to have access to a client manager. So they will have a named individual who will be their person and main point of contact. Doesn't change the price at all. But if instead they want to be able to talk to the partner straight away, then it does change the price. Gosh, my internet is just shocking today. I do apologize. I have no idea what it's doing there. It's gone to sleep. Okay, so that allows you to do those things. Now, we've now got a fee. They have chosen it. They have the option to do stuff with it. Now, if this was an existing client, okay, then looking at this, this is going to be £4,492 a year, and maybe they've not paid you anything near that amount. Okay, so what we do with you is we create a rollout process on Time's Up. We get the pricing right for how you feel comfortable with it, though this pricing is pricing that was charged in Sheffield 20 years ago, so I would hope it's higher for you now. And what we do is we then come out with a rollout program. So we would always use Time's Up with prospects first. There we go, this finally changed. Or with clients that you don't mind getting rid of, because if they pay you more and stay, great. If they don't, fine. I'm just taking the client manager off, part off again. And then we look at your clients and we roll out as we're meeting them to have a discussion. Now, if this client, excuse me, if this was an existing client and that fee was something that was massive, and again, we've got things in here that are different from normal, putting them on the cloud, sorting out payroll, doing the VAT, we might not be doing that at the moment, so it will be higher, but you may want to make a decision for 1 year only to adjust that fee. So on here, you can change it so that you can make them pay up front if you feel that that's important for that particular client. You can also do a discount. So you can create a running sum, okay? You can create a final figure. And then what you do is you tick that box to show the discount on the proposal so that it will always be clear that this is for this year only. This is how much you should have paid, 4492. And then this is how much I'm going to allow you to pay, whatever that you choose that final figure to be. Okay. So this allows you to be flexible if you need to with existing clients, but they have to know how much they should be paying. Now, I'm really conscious that I've run out of time to show you about customizing it. And I don't want to keep you here longer than normal. So very quickly, just on your tax, just to show you, and we will customize it on another event. Okay. So on the your tax, again, we're going to go back and talk about each individual. If I go into your tax, you can see you would put the person's name in. So this is for Bob. Okay. And these are just the schedules that we would normally have on a tax return. So how many savings accounts do they have? How many different share companies do they deal with? Again, put things in there. And we just go through and answer these questions. Okay. Once they are done, if my machine would just go, it's really not happy today. Don't know why. Then what we will do, and obviously you'll need to have income from self-employment in this case. We then have optional extras again for them that we can do for their client. I don't know why that's come up. Okay, so again, we've got 5, 4, 3-star. 5 is complete peace of mind. Okay, let me just put in 1 self-employment. And then we can pick different services, and also those services then you can choose. So if I just pick, for example, I'm going to pick the basic 3-star. Okay, this is what people would be expecting to pay at the moment. Okay, so the top level could be £3,000. The bottom level, let's see what it comes up with. I do apologize. I have no idea what's happening to my internet today. There we go. Right, so I can see that's £185 for a very basic tax return. But then what we can do is we can then show them other things that could support them. If I can just get down to it. I promise I won't overrun. I know I've only got 2 minutes, so I just wanted to show you the opportunity to, again, to offer more services on top of a tax return. I'm sorry, I've had real problems with this software today. I don't think it's my internet's just having a bit of a moment. I can close anything else that might be upsetting it. Because on top of the actual account tax return, sorry, you can offer advice to family. You could offer doing the personal balance sheet. You could offer doing some specific tax planning. It's really not going to play with me today, is it? I'm sorry about this. All sorts of things. So what I'll do then is in our next session, which is in 2 weeks' time, we'll look at using the tax one. Obviously now we don't need to, it's not such a big panic to charge tax returns, but we want to start getting those paid monthly as well. And we will also look at customizing. I really am sorry, I'm not sure what's happened to my internet today. But thank you for your patience with it. If you have any questions at all, please stick them in the chat box. If you are wanting to use Times Up and you want it customized, then please go to the book a call on the AVN dashboard and book a call, a software training call with Jenny or myself. And what we'll do is we'll work with you to make sure that the pricing that appears in that software is something that you're very comfortable with. Is there any questions now? Okay, thank you. I am so sorry that we've overrun a little bit. I hope you have a lovely day. And I'll see you in a fortnight's time. Thank you, everyone.